love hip hop.
Right.
Too much to let any situation stop me from doing what I love. I literally was writing a rhyme today. I literally was in the studio last night. I love this. It's not about money. If you interview 100 rappers and ask them when they started rapping how much money they was making, they're all gonna probably tell you nothing.
Right.
We was just doing this for the validation, to be dope, to be the best, or to be known as good. Any fallout that I've had was a lesson, but none of it stopped me from wanting to make music.
What's going on? I'm Mia Bell, and you're watching an episode of BET Talks featuring the hybrid, the rapper, the boxer, the teacher, the legend, Cormega. What's going on, man?
How you doing?
How are you feeling, King?
Feeling great.
Now, you've been through so much, a lot of love, a lot of pain, a lot of history, a lot of music. And it's such a pleasure to get all of the stories from you, because that is what I'm waiting for, okay? You're going to take me back to the 90s, baby. QB, your love for music, where did it start?
My love for music came from family, elders, aunts, family gatherings and social events where you hear that Motown in the background and you know, that stuff in the background while they cooking. You know, that always endeared me to music. And then hip hop came after, but my first love of music came from my family.
Right. And you know, when hip hop became a factor in your life, did you ever think that it would take you as far as it has?
No.
What was your first plan?
Well, when I first heard hip hop, I wanted to be in it because it was cool. It was like, it was a culture. It was a new culture. I probably didn't even know what culture meant. I just knew that it was cool, and I wanted in. And I used to try to DJ. I wanted to rap, and I took it serious, but I didn't know I was good.
Okay.
Until like I started being in different places and around different people that are good, and I started being able to hang with the big boys, as they say. So that's when I really knew that I could rap for real.
Yeah, they affirmed it for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were that one. Come on. Now, through music, of course, you've been through a lot, ups, downs. You've documented it all within your, you know, catalog, and you've built this cult following. That is what Cool DJ Red Alert said. He said, you better mention that cult following that Cormega got, because it is still happening to this day. Music is something, well, hip hop and rap is something that you never stop doing, even when the going got tough.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk about when, you know, you and Nas had your fallout, and during that moment, did it feel like stuff was over, or were you just like, this is what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it in every way?
Have you ever been in love?
Yes. Oh, talk about it. I don't know if it was real yet. You tell me first.
All right, so if you've been in love before and it doesn't work out, do you give up on love?
Damn. No, but for a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get your mind right, or you have to soak it all in. But I love hip hop.
Right.
Too much to let any situation stop me from doing what I love. I literally was writing a rhyme today. I literally was in the studio last night. I love this. It's not about money. If you interview 100 rappers and ask them when they started rapping how much money they was making, they're all gonna probably tell you nothing.
Right.
We was just doing this for the validation, to be dope, to be the best, or to be known as good. Any fallout that I've had was a lesson, but none of it stopped me from wanting to make music. Nas is my bro, so that was just a learnable moment for both of us, and we grew from it, and we bloomed to where we at now.
Of course, and it makes the relationship even more special. Like, you know, when you popped out on that stage in 2006.
Oh, you know your stuff.
Come on.
The crowd lost their mind.
I ain't come here to play.
Yeah, you didn't. Matter of fact, you get a high five.
Come on.
I've known plenty of interviews that don't even know about that.
No, of course. I would never bring up a fallout without bringing up how beautifully it came together. That's life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And as people grow, we go through so many things. And like you said, it was a lesson.
Valleys and peaks.
Okay. And all for you guys to come together and still to be able to make music to this day and just make it even more beautiful for the culture. You know what I'm saying?
That's a blessing.
Yeah. And that's why your love for hip hop is so important, because nothing stopped you. And even with this mainstream culture that we're dealing with now, like you said, you were in the studio yesterday.
Right. Yeah. With the mainstream and all the other stuff, my thing is just mind your business. That's what I tell myself. That's not my business. How these people rap or whatever they do, it doesn't concern me. I'm trying to live up to the tradition of that man on your hoodie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the great artists from that era and the DJs such as Red Alert, who was here earlier, those guys who they crawled so we could walk. So if we do anything less than walk, then we disrespecting the blood, sweat, and tears they put into it.
Yeah.
So, and as you said earlier, when me and Nas reunited in 06, that was the craziest crowd response that I've ever seen or felt in my entire life. I've never seen nothing like that. I was like, wow, we was all blown away.
Yeah.
But when we went backstage, we was blown away. That was crazy.
What did it do to you emotionally?
At that moment, I think I was just numb. Me and Nas was both numb. Because I never realized, you gotta understand, when I came out that day, you know, that's the first time people seen us together. Right. And it wasn't announced. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, I hope I don't get booed or not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and then the crowd went crazy. Like so many fans of his have told me, we've been wanting y'all to get back together. Like, we didn't want to, you know, we weren't happy when you and him clashed. So when we got back together, it just really made me realize how valuable a commodity we are together, and to the fans.
Right.
And that was a learnable moment. And then we grew from it. And here we are years later. I appreciate him more now as a artist and as a friend. You know what I'm saying? So that's that was definitely a learnable moment in my life. And from that moment, I think we've helped other people, like younger people, because like when they seen, because everybody don't know about that show that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But the thing that made everybody understand that we was back was the Full Circle song.
Yes, King's Disease.
And that's when we got back together on that. There's people that's regular people in the street that was like, yo, seeing you and him, you know, put aside y'all differences, come back together, made me fix up an issue I had with somebody. So when people telling me stuff like that, it's like, wow, now it's bigger than rap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're doing like God work right now. Just our friendship. Not even just me and him. Me and his brother, we all grew up together. His father spoke to me before when we was going through our stuff. So it's like, this is family. Like, literally. Like, how you looking at me, we looked at each other through our windows. Like, his window was there, my window was there.
Wow.
So it's not like, you know, some rapper that I got cool with and da-da-da. This was my guy before rap. If he never made it as a rapper, I would still be his friend. You know what I'm saying? The same way.
Yeah. And like you said, the music is the love in it all. And, you know, it's something that you wouldn't stop anyway.
The only way I would stop is if my skill level starts to depreciate to the point where I'm not able to consistently deliver to my fans. Other than that, there's no reason for me to stop. I believe in myself. The music that I put out resonates with people in a different way that opened my eyes. As like Nas recently said, when we speaking, he said you have your own lane as a rapper. And Rob Markman said the same thing.
Yeah, you do.
He's like, you have your own lane, and he's like, you remind me of Tupac. Like, the way you connect and, you know, emotion and stuff is like Tupac. He said you guys would have loved each other. So with my music, I always get people saying your music helped me get through a tough period in life. Your music helped me get through a dark time. Your music this, your music that. And I never expected that. So now I look at music as more than just music. It's therapeutic. It's a light when people need a light, or it's guidance when people need it. Like, I needed guidance when I was younger. And there was people like Rakim or Slick Rick. Right. You know, men don't steal, most don't borrow. If you smoke crack, your kids will smoke crack tomorrow.
Come on.
When Slick Rick was saying stuff like that, it's like, wow. Basically, you know, he was giving you life gems in his music. So that's what I try to do with my music. And I think the reason I have such a strong following is because I've been loyal to my fans. I never deviated from the plan. And I never act like the fan is under me or smaller than me. I look at the fan as my boss. I don't do things that I rode the train here. You know what I'm saying? I want to just be mega. I want to give the fans what they want, because the fan is your boss. As long as your boss is happy with your quality of work, you'll stay employed.
Absolutely.
The minute your boss is not happy, then your position is in question. So I think I've been here all these years because I've been consistent.
Yeah. And how would you describe the sounds and the changes that we've been hearing in music as the years have gone by? You know, we're celebrating hip hop 50 and forever because it's a genre that's never going to go away, of course.
No, it's here forever.
Yeah, but the evolution of it, and even for you to just stay in the lane that you've created without deviating to what we hear now.
I think it's a spectacular. It's kind of like watching a flower bloom. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you document a flower growing, it'll take a very long time, but once you look at the film, you can see and speed it up. You see the sprout and the growth and the beauty that comes from it, and that one flower is going to manifest other life.
Yeah.
So hip hop, to see its growth is amazing to me, as somebody that's both a participant and a fan. When it first happened, I wasn't business savvy. I was just caught up in it. It was beautiful to me. It was fun to me. But now the beauty of it is seeing the opportunity, seeing people who, there's billionaires from rap.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought? Like, you know, when you're a kid, you think $1 million is the ceiling. Now there's guys with billions. There's guys with hundreds of millions. There's guys making life-changing decisions that are benefiting millions of people. There are people using their creative savvy that's affecting the world. Like Kanye really dominated the sneaker world. And you know, even with his recent controversy,
right,
his sneakers were still selling.
Yeah.
You got Diddy with the Ciroc, or Jay-Z with his business endeavor. So rap has just transitioned into so many different lanes. We have politicians that used to be rappers now. Yeah. You know, so that part right there is just amazing for me to see, and now I'm proud of it. And now I look at it from a different lens, because now I look at the young guys coming in, and I try to tell, like, some of the older people, or the legends and the foundational pieces, like, we can't really be overly critical of the young people. You can't be condescending to the young people. You can't be real stern on them or strict with them with certain things, because you have to. There's a new word that I like to use. It's not a fancy word. It's called empathy. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it.
So I can't critique young people for doing stupid stuff, because I used to do stupid stuff when I was younger, and I don't think there's an old person on this planet Earth that didn't do nothing stupid when they was younger. That's the beauty. You get those passes when you're young. A cat get 9 lives, and youth get stupidity until they grow out of it.
Talk about it.
So my relationship with the younger generation is beautiful, because I'm able to talk to them without sounding condescending. I'm able to understand where they're coming from, and I'm able to hear different viewpoints. And I think we all should do that for the culture to grow. As long as there's different views and people are strong in their views and not willing to listen, there will be division. There should not be young rappers having conflict with pioneers and icons and you know, and veterans.
Right.
It makes no sense. We're supposed to guide them, not just music wise, but behavior wise, economic wise. Somebody spoke the other day, an artist, and they was like, yeah, we should have a union.
Absolutely.
For rappers. And I said, well, I do agree in unions, but I also agree that unions are not the most important thing for us as a community, as a genre. The most important thing is financial responsibility, because same people, you know, there's people that have no money now, and they're like, yeah, but these rappers, they don't have no money. What about when he had the Benzes and he had the big chains and he had this and he had that and he was buying champagne every day and this? So if you have financial responsibility in the future, you know, you plant those seeds for the future economically and everything. Right. So,
and who's there to teach them that?
So that's what we have to do. And the people that have money, because if you have money, people are more likely to listen to you.
Right.
And we was having a real powerful conversation the other day. It was me, Raekwon, Nas was there, Ghostface, powerful. And I said something to the effect of, everybody has very strong, powerful points. If I could put that discussion in a bottle, you'd cancel this interview and just air that.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Oh, I wish.
And I said, wealth is not what you spend. It's what you accumulate.
talk about it.
So one of the biggest problems that we have is excess spending in this game, and a lot of people marketed that and promoted that. And then when you market and promote a certain lifestyle, the younger people are going to try to pick up on that lifestyle.
Right.
So we have to have financial responsibility, not just financial responsibility, but we have to be responsible people, and then that'll make life better.
Yeah. And in paying it forward and giving the knowledge,
Right.
that is why you're still here and still making music, so that we can learn from the legends. I love the way that you describe hip hop as a flower blooming, because I'm finna dig in these crates right now.
Okay, let's see what you got.
And you gonna talk to me about how you felt when these joints came out, and where was your headspace at, and what did these albums mean to you?
De La Soul, that's 3 Feet High and Rising, is a classic.
Yeah.
I just took a picture of one of the brothers the other day at that same show. He was there. When De La Soul first came out, it was a breath of fresh air. Sometimes people say rap was better back then.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, we're not here to say it was better. We're not here to say it worse. It was more diversity.
Okay.
So if you wanted to hear LL, you could hear LL. He raps a certain way. You want to hear KRS, you get KRS-One. Chuck D gives you something else. Slick Rick gives you something else. And then you have these brothers, De La Soul. They were like the hippie rappers.
Yeah.
They were cool. They wasn't on no gangster stuff. They wasn't using profanity. They weren't derogatory. They were just having fun. They were hippies. Peace, love, and having fun. They had amazing consistency to them. They have skill, and they had great production. So they was a dope group.
Yeah. I love that. Now we have A Tribe Called Quest. Come on.
Okay. This is crazy because I just seen Jerobi the other day too.
Really?
Yeah, I think I seen him in Miami. We didn't really talk much because I was being ushered in. I was going in the building, and he was coming out, and it was like yo. So he, but and he has a cousin named Gerald. Gerald's one of my best friends on the planet Earth. He's not even my friend; he's my brother.
Wow.
So yeah, so me and Jerobi go back. All right, so back to this. When this, and the reason I'm saying Jerobi so much because I know him.
Right.
So it's kind of like when the video came out. Back then there wasn't always a face to the artist. Like nowadays, the artists come out, you know how they look before you even. I know how Ice Spice looked before I heard the album.
Right.
Like,
and social media, of course.
and social media, right? So when I first seen that video, I was like, that looked like my friend Jerobi. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't think it was him. I was like, that looked like him. So turns out it was him. And I was like, wow, I was proud. You know what I'm saying? And obviously the first song I remember is Left My Water, El Segundo. I thought it was a little different from the norm. But I thought they was cool. And then Tribe Called Quest developed into one of the most consistent, dope groups ever. And they was different. They was abstract. Q-Tip has a very uniqueness to his flow, his delivery, his voice, and he has lyrics. I think he's very underrated. I think he definitely deserves more credit for what he did to the culture. That album is what you would call a classic.
Yeah, for sure. We got a bunch of those in here. Life After Death. What does this mean to you?
When Life After Death, what that means to me is a lot of things. I'm conflicted on that album.
Why?
It's a word. There's a word called oxymoron, and it's like the best and the worst. It's a cold day in hell. It can't be. It's when opposites. So on one hand, I feel great about that album. On another hand, it's like, wow, he really lived that. This album came out after he was dead, so there's no joy in that he didn't really get to live and even see this album released. I just look at that whole thing as a tragic place in hip hop where an artist's life was cut short. Like I said, that's a bittersweet moment. I think that, honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know if this is popular opinion, I think this album is better than Ready to Die. I think this album is better than his first album.
Wow.
The first album was more popular, but if you really listen to the first album and you listen to this and dissect it, first of all, he showed more versatility on this album. I mean, the dude rapped with Bone Thugs and Harmony. It sounded good. Right? Lyrically, he got better. On the first album, he was catchy. He had the flow, and he's very charismatic. This album, like, his lyrics got better. Some of his stories were better. Like Sky's the Limit, and I could go on. There's so many songs on it that's dope. 10 Crack Commandments.
Yep.
Like, this album is better than the first one.
Yeah.
So when I see this album, it's like, it's a bittersweet moment. It's like, wow, this album is so dope and da-da-da, but wow, he didn't even get to celebrate it.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Now this one. Illmatic.
So when I see this is a whole different. Now you digging into my emotions.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, I could look at this album cover and see it different from a fan. Like I could say,
you looking at home.
Like I know people that live in that building. You know, I know people that live in that building. I know people that live in that building. I know people that live in that building. That's the actual bridge that we crossed. This is 40th Avenue. I used to stand there and hustle. Like, you know, that's Nas when he was younger. You know, he was quiet and he was very observant. So when I see this, it's just a lot of memories. This is a nostalgic picture. Yeah.
Of course.
But the album, forget about it. It's one of the greatest albums ever. It's not even just a great rap album. It's a great album. It's so cohesive. It's one of the first albums during that time. You know, your producer was your producer. So like, say like Evil D, he would do beats mostly for Boot Camp, or Pete Rock do beats for CL, or you know, this album was a unison of some of the top dope producers that we all like, and it really wasn't a norm back then. You get a producer and you work. He got Premier, Q-Tip, Pete Rock, Large Pro, LES, all on one album, and it just became a cohesive piece of art. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And now we're gonna keep it in Queensbridge.
Murder Music. This is a dope album. This album was, I believe this was my comeback album. I'm on here. I'm honored to have been on there. This album went platinum. This is Mobb Deep's biggest selling album.
Yeah.
And I'm on it. So I'm on Nas' biggest selling album. I'm on Mobb Deep's biggest selling album.
Of course. You had to be, though.
This album was very well put together. Also, it was cohesive. One of my favorite features on there is the one with Coogee Rap. I think he absolutely went crazy.
Do you have any memories with Prodigy?
I have too many memories with Prodigy. Prodigy was always... when Prodigy first came to Queensbridge, he was fly. Like, he had like a style. He had a little swag to him, or he had something to him.
Right.
He wasn't regular. So I remember I always liked his style. I was like, I like Shorty's style. He's fly. He like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's always cool. Like he said in his book, he was definitely trying to fill out his lane in rap. Like, so he would test his skills up against rappers and in the hood. And he spoke about it in the book.
Yeah.
When he met Big Mega, he realized there's levels to this.
Yeah.
And then after that, we became cool though. I remember I came home from jail, and as soon as Prodigy seen me, he went crazy. He was like, "Yo, we got a show today." They had a show at Orchard Beach, so I went to that show, and I was blown away, because you gotta imagine, like, it's kind of like growing up around Queensbridge, or being in the area and knowing people and knowing them as normal people, and then it's like you leave and you come back and your friend is like a star. It's different. Yeah. It's something that you really have to get acclimated to. So, you know, when I left, it was just, you know, he was who he was. Or same with Nas. So I go to Orchard Beach. Orchard Beach is packed. The people was going crazy for these guys. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I had to get adjusted to that. And I remember Pete always respected me as a rapper. I remember when I first came home, I was rusty, obviously. Anybody's going to be rusty when they're gone for a while, whether it's Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan. You know, you shake off the rust and you get back to your greatness.
Your version of rusty probably isn't rusty to most, though.
Okay.
I wouldn't say.
I'll take that. But Prodigy was always, like, rooting for me. Like, yeah, Mega's going to be good. He just got to get back into his zone, and he's going to be all right. So,
and you did it.
Jay Dilla,
the genius.
Jay Dilla is, you know, there's a term called a man's man. He's a producer's producer. That's, you know, he has instrumentals right now that I would love to do something to. What more can I say? He's an icon, and he's definitely missed. Wow, a lot of people on here, a few of these artists are gone. That's on these albums that you showed me. That's deep.
It's scary.
Yeah.
But they completed their mission, I believe.
Woo!
Come on.
Tupacalypse Now.
Yeah.
I think Tupac is the greatest rapper that ever existed. I don't think there's any debate about that. Now, when we talk about rap, there are categories. I didn't say he was the best lyricist.
Right.
I didn't say, you know what I'm saying, but there are things that empower and embody an artist. I'll give you a perfect example, especially now, modern. Like, he was ahead of his time.
Right.
You think of artists right now, you have to be able to do good interviews. You have to be able to go on podcasts and be in demand. Like, if you don't do good interviews, you're not going to be in demand on podcasts, etc., etc. Imagine him now. Every
Right.
podcast in the world will want him.
It'd be so crazy.
So let's think about it. There's things that make artists great. LL Cool J, he was great. He was like one of the first. He was like the first sex symbol rapper, right? So we all know ladies love Cool J. Tupac became one of the biggest heartthrobs in rap history,
That too.
right? Controversy sells. He's probably the most controversial rapper in rap history.
I agree.
And then, so you talking about ladies,
One of them.
the lady effect. You talked about controversy, his caliber, his body of work. The thing that is so amazing about him is you could play a Tupac song for an older person that doesn't like that. You could play a Tupac song for somebody that actually absolutely hates rap, and they'll be like, I don't like this. And then you turn around and play a song like Keep Your Head Up, and they'll be like, I like him, and you'll be like, that's the same guy.
Right.
So you name another rapper that made a song like Dear Mama, or a song like Keep Your Head Up, and then turn around and hit him up.
Right.
Like, his versatility was bananas. When you consider that this guy didn't even make it to 30, and the amount of songs and albums that he made in that time, he just brought so much to the game. And when you look at a lot of rappers that were successful in the 90s and early 2000s, they all took a piece of Tupac formula.
Of course.
All of them. I never really seen rappers with tats all over them. So many things that he did that we all borrowed from. So I say he's the greatest of all time as far as in the grand scheme, the whole body of work. When you talk about lyrics, that's different, you know what I'm saying? But when you talk about the great rapper, when I go to Africa, I see murals of Tupac.
Right.
When I go to Germany, people talk about Tupac. I've been around the world, and there's no rapper they talk about around the world like they talk about Tupac.
Yeah, the messaging was there.
Yeah.
Naughty by nature.
Wow, Naughty by Nature. I think Tretch, I think it's almost a crime how underappreciated he is. Tretch is one of the most ferocious rappers I've ever heard. If you listen to his rap pattern, his cadence and his energy, he was a force to be reckoned with. He's another rapper that is like almost a total package too, because his live performance is crazy. He could make good records, he could make hit records, and got ladies like him. I think the only reason Tretch doesn't get the credit he deserves, unfortunately, in this culture, in the rap culture, ignorance, you gotta understand it was a young genre. It didn't get to grow. So at some points, ignorance was dominating the conversation.
Right.
Like, success was viewed as not cool. You know, look at all the flack Big Daddy Kane caught when he did that interview. What was it, Playboy magazine or something? When he did the pictures with Madonna and all that.
Oh, yeah.
A rapper do that now, he's lit. Or MC Hammer caught flack because he was doing all his commercial stuff. Every rapper's trying to aspire to do that now. I think the reason Tretch doesn't really get his credit is because he's so successful. Hip Hop Parade is a global hit. You're down with OPP, and they had hit records, so people just look at that. But if you take away those, like put those, let's look at the B-sides. And you look at the songs where he's just rapping, Tretch is one of the best rappers. My hands is up, I'm saluting him.
Oh, man. All right. The Wu.
Oh, man. I mean, what more can I say, man? The Wu, 36 Chambers. I think Wu-Tang is the greatest movement in rap. Some would say they're the greatest group. I don't look at Wu-Tang as a group. I look at it as a movement.
Yeah.
Because the first Wu-Tang album was 36 Chambers. The second album from Wu-Tang wasn't 36 Chambers. It was solo people doing stuff, and solo, and then they came back. They are the greatest movement in the history of rap. The diversity of Wu-Tang. I have personal relationships with guys from Wu-Tang that I really respect.
Of course.
I think Method Man has one of the best flows in rap. The way he rapped, it's like he's walking on air. And he's a star. Method Man, everybody's not gonna be a star. You know what I'm saying? Some people, as long as you playing This is another thing we discussed when we was talking the other day. Us, the guy that sits on the bench and barely gets any play, get the same championship ring as the MVP.
Yeah.
If y'all win, y'all at the same parade, you on the same float, you get the same ring.
Yep.
Just play your part. So the thing I like about Wu-Tang is they got so many different parts, and each part is an integral part. Like, nobody does what ODB does. Nobody does what U-God does. Nobody does what Master Killer does. Nobody does what Ray does, or Ghost, or RZA, Jizza, Inspector Deck. Inspector Deck's one of the best people to start a song. And I hope I didn't leave out nobody. I don't think I left out anybody. Capadonna.
Oh, yes.
He killed Winter War. Shout out to the whole Wu. That's my guys. 50 Cent.
Get rich or die trying.
50 Cent. All art.
Oh, you about to preach. Come on.
All art.
All art.
Benefits from assimilating or imitation.
Yep.
When 50 Cent came out, first of all, everybody wanted to do a mixtape after that, back to back, because he was doing them back to back. And then all of a sudden, you don't remember, all of a sudden, every rapper's bulky now after 50 Cent? But, you know what I'm saying, proud of that, people wasn't even working out like that. There was dudes that was fat, now they, you know what I'm saying, everybody, But my whole thing is this, and we talked about this, you know, me and my circle. I was like, you can't really copy 50 Cent. You can't bite off of what he did, because it wasn't just his masculinity, you know. There was so many attributes that made 50 Cent blow up. First of all, he wanted it. He was passionate. He was like Tupac. Like, Tupac had a lot of intangibles. 50 Cent had the sex appeal. Women love him.
Yeah.
He had the controversy. He had the work ethic. And he was consistent. And he knew what he wanted. So when you add that all together, as Chris Lighty said, 50 Cent was the perfect storm. And within the last 4 or 5 years, I won a bet. There's 3 people I never will bet against that I won money on. Dame Dash, 50 Cent, and Cardi B. I won money. I told people she's gonna blow up, and they didn't believe it, and I won money. And I said she's not just blowing up because her rap. She has personality. Like, I used to want to go on social media just to see what she was saying.
Right.
So when you have personality, and then you have likability, and then you have the music to back it up, which she did, she's gonna have longevity. 50 Cent. Who else did I say? I said her. Oh, Dame Dash. I said you don't bet against Dame Dash, because Dame Dash is a hustler. A hustler. A hustle is an action word.
Yep.
And he's about his action. He always goes hard, no matter what. He goes hard. So you could sleep, you could count him out, but I wouldn't bet against him. And then 50 Cent. 50 Cent really, he's a grinder. Like, look at his work ethic. Look, and people thought he was getting quiet in the music. All he was doing was reloading. He's dominating television now.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, name one rapper in the history of rap, producer, rapper, anybody. Name one that dominated TV. And when I say dominate, I'm not talking about they appeared on a show.
Right.
Like, he had a series that spawned other series.
Yeah.
Like, it's never been done.
Yeah.
He could retire off just that. So 50 Cent is
working on more at that.
He's a generational talent. What do they call those people when you go to casino? The people that go hard, like sharks. He's like a shark. Like 50 Cent, he gets it. He's a ultimate hustler.
That's somebody that you never bet against.
Right.
That's right.
The Chronic, Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre is a genius. I never really got to work with Dre in the capacity that I want to, so hopefully he sees this and he reaches out to me. Dr. Dre is the only man that's nearly 60 that will make an album and everybody wants it.
Yeah.
He's a visionary. And when I say he's a visionary, we're not just talking, you look at NWA, that was one thing, and they became iconic. You take Snoop Dogg, he became iconic. You take Eminem, he became iconic. You take DOC would have been iconic. It's just that he had an accident that made him lose his voice.
Right.
So when Dre believes in something, he puts all into it. Kendrick Lamar. Like, when Dre gets involved with something, game, it goes up. He took production to another level because there's layers to his production. He makes it sound cinematic. He makes production bigger, as opposed to when everybody was just sampling loops and break beats and stuff. He made production bigger. The Chronic is the greatest. It's not even up for debate. Nobody could debate with me. I'll just walk away from you. The Chronic is the greatest compilation album in the history of rap music.
Ooh.
Straight up and down, you can quote me on it. It's not even up for debate. Some things is not even up for debate.
And that's one of them.
That's one of them.
And you know what else is one of them? Your contribution to hip hop, okay? And the way that you're still standing and still, cranking them out. As you should be. And before you get up out of here, of course, I want you to just kind of speak into that. Your past, your present, and your future in this space.
As an artist?
Yeah. As an artist, as a human, because I feel like it's all in one with you. It's the realness, baby. Come on.
My past was dramatic moments in life that were necessary for me to grow.
Right.
To grow into this present. And they even to be here, so many of my friends have died. Like,
right.
If you listen to any Mobb Deep or Nas album, when they naming people that died, everybody they name I know. That's heavy. Not to just know, but it was close with most of them too.
Right.
So that's a lot of losses that I took. My mother, lost my mother young. As I was telling somebody the other day, my mother never got to see me tie my shoe, never got to see me ride a bike, never got to see me graduate from kindergarten, let alone the next level. I was talking to Rutgers University. I was talking to a class there, and I was telling them, appreciate your mother. Appreciate, don't let an argument or a difference with anybody that you love dominate your space or your time, because that's some hella regret that you don't want.
Right.
That regret of not being able to fix something that could have been fixed, but it's too late, it can't be fixed. You don't want to live with that. So I had that conversation. So a lot of things in my past, I look at myself from a different lens, and I'll be like, wow, I don't know how I got through some things, but it was necessary. I think God gives us the load that He knows we can handle, and then we have to do the rest. So my past in hip hop was me being captivated and fascinated as a fan, and then I transitioned into a participant in it, and then somehow along the lines I grew. But my growth, I attribute that to God and the fans more than anything else, because I didn't even know that I had a following. I didn't know people around I didn't even know people from other races and backgrounds listen to me. I thought it was just like street gutter people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I go other places, everybody knows my music. No, every race, every religion, every creed. My first show in England, when I had an album out, I was like, first of all, people looked like they was punk rockers, all kind of in the crowd. So I was like, this is weird. So I thought they just here, they waiting for somebody else, but they was there for me.
Of course.
So that blew my mind. So my love for hip hop is from a sincere place, because not just because I love hip hop, but because hip hop loved me back.
Yeah.
My first album came out over 20 years ago, and I drop music now, people still get excited. Where there's artists that was way bigger than me that had a hit record 5 years ago, and people don't even get excited when they come out now.
Right.
So I don't take that for granted, and I'm at the mercy of the fans with that. So I'm very thankful and appreciative for all that. So yeah.
Of course. And your future?
My future, I look forward to my future in all aspects of life. I think I'm gonna dive deeper into books. I'm gonna dive deeper into.
I was gonna say, please let that be the next.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive deeper into books. I have a book out now, but it's not physical. It's only digital. It's called the Black Book. So it's like a book of quotes.
Okay.
And the reason we call it a Black Book, because graffiti writers used to have this black book and they write in it. And I had this black graffiti book, but I just wrote a lot of quotes. Like I tagged it in graffiti, but it was actual quotes. And then Nori was like, lost his mind when I showed it to him on the Drink Champs. So I got that out because it's helpful quotes for people, and I'm gonna have more books like that and other things. I want to get into more fashion, because I did a lot of clothing collaborations that did well, and then we got the music. I'm currently have an album with Harry Fraud that we really trying to it's done, but we trying to put the finishing touches on it, and then I'm gonna do other music. So I got music plans, clothing plans, book plans, and then the thing that I really need to do for my future is just be a better person.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All wrapped in one.
Yeah.
Truly the essence of the culture, this thing we call hip hop, and a stand up man, I would say. Cormega, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.